this.
What does that say?
And I was looking at my shirt when he was talking. I was like,
What does it say?
Sorry, guys.
What?
Sorry, guys. It's a black metal band.
See what I mean? Look at that's perfect. Turn around. That's awesome. Sargeist.
They're pretty sick.
You should just say, why don't you have Sargeist on your show?
But the question is about you now. So.
All right.
You being the Kiss fan.
Uh-huh.
What do you think about the new lineup with Tommy and Eric?
Oh my God, I've been talking about this forever. And finally, Dee Snider just started talking about it as well, and got into a huge fight with Paul Stanley because of it. That started on my podcast. I've said many times I'm a huge Kiss fan, but I stopped following the band about 10 years ago when they started having two guys impersonate Ace and Peter. And the way I look at it, there is no other way. You can try to make it politically correct all you want. They are impersonating what two other people created. It's that simple. Now, if you're cool with it and you go and you like it, great. I'm not judging anyone. I'm just saying as a fan, I can't look at it. It's ridiculous and it crosses a line for me. I'm not saying Ace and Peter should be back in the band. I'm not saying that Tommy and Eric are bad guys. They're good players. They're only taking their orders from above. They have nothing to do with that decision. I don't blame them at all. But it is just, as a Kiss fan, I've been a lifelong Kiss fan, but it was the one thing for me that was a line that was drawn that I couldn't get into and I was not into. So I don't go anymore. And nothing against Tommy and Eric. Great people, great musicians. They're great in the band. But I wish they were their own people. That's all I've ever said. So... And others agree, judging from the clapping in here, and there's a lot, what's funny about this is there's a lot of musicians. It's become a big question that I've said this 10 years ago. This is nothing new for me. This is old news for me. But now, there are finally some other musicians who finally have started to talk about it. A guy like Dee Snider, who just spoke about it and went crazy about it. Here's the other thing. There's a ton of musicians that I talk to that feel the same way that I feel, the same way that Dee feels, and the same way that some fans feel, but they are afraid to say it publicly because Kiss is very hypersensitive, Paul is very hypersensitive by his own admission, and as a result, they're afraid to say it. But I can tell you there are bands that have toured with Kiss that have told me how bad and ridiculous and wrong they think it is. They won't say it publicly because they want to be their friends and maybe get those tours, and I get it, they're playing the game. But eventually people come out and speak about it, and again, I've said a million times, if you're cool with it, I don't judge you, go, I get it, have fun. Me, not for me. The last thing I'll say this, people say, oh, it's just, it doesn't really matter, it doesn't matter. Just went to see AC/DC at Dodger Stadium the other day, right? Said to a friend of mine that was there, who is one of these guys that thinks that it is not a big deal that what Kiss does. And I said to him, hey, how would you feel if Angus wasn't able to play in AC/DC and they brought out another guy and just put him in the schoolboy uniform and had him jumping around and doing the same? Would you be okay? Dude, that would be, what if this fucking sacrilege? Don't talk to me like that. What, are you kidding me? Really? Well then, how is it different? That's what I say. So that's always my pride.
And it confuses kids too, like that Scooby-Doo thing. Did you see that Kiss?
Like I said, I checked out. I didn't see Scooby-Doo.
Our kids are like, wait, Peter Chris is a cat, right? Okay, well, where's a fox? And it's like, what?
See, that would be cool. Like, I loved Eric Carr, and he was his own guy. You could look at it and say, oh, that's that guy, and it makes sense. Now. It makes sense. It's not what somebody else created. It makes sense. But listen, Kiss will eventually, and they've said this themselves, do a band where it's going to be all replacement members. And a lot of people have followed very closely what Foreigner has done. Because Foreigner is one band that's out there right now touring with no original members and doing very well. And there's a lot of people that are looking at that as they're getting older and saying, hey, can we pull that off?